them hard. Ain't no time for permission. From the weight room to the plate, we spit motivation. Yeah, we yell at the but it's pure dedication. Got the podcast booming, the whole team listen. Big dudes, big hearts, and the scholarship glistening. Big dudes, big hearts, and the scholarship glistening.
Hey everybody, I'm Rob.
And I'm Chad.
And we're the Bucket Dads. Today we have a very special guest in the studio, the man, the myth, the legend.
Hey, welcome everybody.
Yeah, we got Steve Reynolds.
That's right.
Yes, Steve Reynolds. Now, some of you may or may not know Steve Reynolds. Maybe you've worked with him. Maybe you had him as your coach. But he's been in the Fastpitch softball game here for a very, very long time, and he's been through it all. He's seen it all. He's experienced it all, and he is definitely no rookie to the softball world. And for those of you that don't know who he is a Oregon Fastpitch Hall of Fame coach, amongst many other things, but that is like, it's legendary.
That's right.
So he's also helped, I think, start multiple different organizations, including the Red Heat. He's currently, I believe, a coach for the Lady Bombers. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. So, I don't want to try to tell everybody everything you've done. If you wouldn't mind just like filling them in on where you, like, different organizations you've done, different accolades, different players maybe you've coached. Just go ahead and take it away, Steve, if you don't mind.
Well, we started Valley Softball, which is actually the one just before Red Heat. Valley Softball is now Valley Tournament that Mike Wells runs.
Okay.
Does that have to do with the Valley Invite?
Yes.
Ah. Okay.
So we started that eons ago.
When you say eons, just for our listeners, eons are probably older than most of our listeners. How old is an eon, do you think?
That's 80s.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're talking late 80s, mid 80s.
Mid 80s.
All right.
Early 80s, somewhere in that range. I came from Vancouver, where softball was good. And then we moved to Northeast Portland, and softball was not good. So we started Creative Impact, which was my company name, and started from there. And then we moved to Hillsboro. And once we moved to Hillsboro, I was asked to coach Valley Catholic.
Okay.
And when I was at Valley Catholic, the people came to me and said, "Would you start a program?" And I said, "Sure." And that's where Red Heat started, 1988, actually.
Nice.
So it was a progression of love.
Yeah. How old were the girls that started, you think? How old was your first team?
My first team was my actual 9-year-old daughter.
Okay.
Which is now 59.
Wow.
So that tells you something.
Jeez.
Okay. Has it changed a little bit over the years?
It's all been changed, actually, for the good. The technology change has been
incredible.
Oh, more than incredible.
Especially over the last.
The balls, we used to use Cork white balls that you couldn't see.
I think you still have a few of those in your barn.
I do. I have to save some around to remind everything. I mean, the bats were hard core aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that if you got a home run with some of that stuff, you got a home run.
Yeah, you're a monster.
Yeah. You earned every bit of that one.
That's right.
Yeah. No, it was, the technology in the bats, the technology in the balls.
Right.
Even they're making mitts better. They're making equipment better, which back when I was a big believer in 60 feet per second videotaping.
Mm-hmm.
60 feet per second. And I had the VCR that you plug the thing in, and you had the knob that you could turn it.
Okay.
And do that. And everybody hoo-hoo-pooed that way back when. But it was one of the best tools. And now look what they have.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were just talking about on the last show, we got swing analyzers.
Yes.
Yeah, they got what is it? They got 1,000 frames per second slow motion now. If you want
on your phone, correct? On your phone.
If you want to, you can buy the camera that's like 10,000.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it's ungodly.
Trying to catch a bullet.
Yeah. It's too much money for us.
We don't need that much.
Yeah, it's $40,000.
Yeah.
Cameras. But you can do as much as that. And it's with, Game Changer, with the different swing analyzers, that velocity off the bat, angle off the bat, bat speed, all the different things have helped tremendously.
Yeah.
Analyzing.
Yeah. Definitely a progression.
It is. It's, and
I think that goes across the board with sports and technology, period. We're just moving forward as people, and it's good to see it happening. And our kids are on the winning end of that for sure.
You know what's crazy is that I'm surprised that, because some of these swing analyzers, some of the technology has actually been around for a few years. And I'm surprised that there's coaches out there that haven't adapted it yet. And it's like, if you're trying to model yourselves after, the showcase teams like the Falcons or like the Hawks and the Northwest Bullets, maybe do what they're doing. Like, I was talking with Cunningham, Mary Cunningham.
Yeah.
We were mentioning the blast motion swing analyzer.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, hey, what do you think about this shit? This. She's like, oh, I hate them. I mean, they're great. I hate them though. I was like, well, why do you hate them? She's like, well, they made us use them when we were on the Bullets. They'd track our homework, and if we didn't get our swings in, we get in trouble.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, that's so they made everybody use them. She goes, oh, heck yeah. It's the only way you can keep the girls accountable.
It's like the Geico car insurance thing you put in your car. They tell you brake checking people and driving like crap.
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't ask her like how long she'd be using them, but like that's a thing that the Bullets do. They make all the girls either they're sponsors by it or they make the girls buy it. But every girl has a swing analyzer, and they give them homework of how many swings they have to do per night, and they check them. Yeah. Because it tracks everything.
Well, I think
you got what is it, Rapsodo or something like that?
Sure.
I had Rapsodo for a couple of years.
I've never used it. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Rapsodo is something you put on the ground, and you can do throw through at a distance. Okay, you can put machine at a distance.
Yeah, hey, just so you know, it looks like a little amplifier, a little amplifier, right?
On the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it shoots it out, and you run through Apple iPad, and you have to read everything through Apple iPad. The first year I did it, I didn't like it because it too much time to get feedback back out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, in between a swing, it was like, oh my gosh, come on.
Right.
But then again, we're in the age of enter, boom, there it is.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of time. Then a couple of years later, I did it again, and they had done whatever it's called an upgrade.
Yeah.
So that it ran it faster, which it's good. I just don't like paying $6,000 for the equipment.
God, I didn't know it cost that much.
And $1,500 a year.
Oh my God.
To subscribe to it. Then you had to go buy the Apple iPad, which was $1,100. Now I still have the Apple iPad, and I still have the equipment, but
I wonder if there was a different company making besides it, or was it strictly like Apple? Was it only an Apple thing, or could you do it through it?
I'm sure they probably upgraded it so you could use Android, but there's certain types of technology that the Apple has the Android doesn't have. Like for example, with the swing analyzers, you can if you have a membership, you can do slap motion or slap video tracking with the Apple iOS, but you can't do that with the Android. So I almost bought like the cheapest, most used version, like but still eligible to run the blast motion software of an Apple iPad, just so I could get Ziva slapping and get that tracking. I think it was going to cost me like maybe $150-$200 for like one of those iPads used.
Android users when they got to buy an Apple.
It sucks.
I'm like, dude, is it that bad?
Oh man, it's like a whole new world, man.
I've gone back and forth so many times. I can
that
just,
it is. Starting to run the Apple, but Apple also has a lot of different things that you can break down.
Yeah.
Other things, and it's, I don't know, some of them are, $49 a month.
Yeah.
And they get you too.
Once you're locked in with them, it's hard to get off and get something else.
Yeah.
So once you get locked into like the Apple account, it's hard to come out of it. They get you.
I'm somewhat old school.
Okay. No.
I can tell by the sound. I can tell a lot of things because I've been around it so long that the velocity off the bat, what it's going to be. Is it going to be too much angle? Is it, you just,
Yeah. Hey, it's a perfect example of getting another. I mean, I was the same way when I was younger. When I was pitching, I could tell by the sound of it. I can tell like how fast it was. Guess who can do that now?
Z.
Abby.
Oh, really?
Abby. She's been
nice.
around Steve and gotten
Oh,
enough
nice.
clinics and pitched with enough different caught with enough different pitchers. Now she can tell by the sound of the ball.
Yeah.
She can tell how fast it is. So just an example. So we were at Ziva's pitching lesson the other night after the Westview game.
Yeah.
And Abby was calling out the MPHs within 1 mile an hour of what Scott was getting him on the radar.
That's rad.
And she was doing it over and over and over
rad.
again. And
That's
I was like,
rad. I was gonna say I didn't.
Great
I
job.
was gonna say in the introduction.
Is that the Scott for sore?
no, it's not Scott. I just spaced on his name. Adderman. Yeah.
Yes, something.
Yeah, it's not him. It's Scott Vandehey. It looks like Vandehey, but it's pronounced Vandehey. He is a polygirl certified fast pitch pitching coach at the elite level. There's only 2 of those in Oregon. There's like several in like California and everywhere else, but those are 2 in Oregon. He's also a 16U Sherwood Fireball coach. And here right now, he's also a pitching coach for the Silver Bullets, Chris Davies team.
Okay.
So
That's cool to hear Abby, progressing pretty good. You know, I think she does look really good when I'm not around sometimes. But I was going to say that in the introduction so everybody knew, like, Steve is one of Abby's coaches. Everybody, Abby started going to Steve's clinics beginning of Lady Bombers, beginning of her first, 10U, so beginning of last year.
Yep.
And she's been pretty much a regular over the past year and a half, going on 2 years now. So yeah, man, it's been super cool. And so yeah, she's picked up so much.
And you know what?
She's picked up so much along the way.
She's a pleasure to have in the clinics.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
She is.
She's very programmable too. She catches on
She's a
real
good kid.
fast.
I'm super blessed to have. She's a good
Should
kid.
be. You should be proud.
Yeah, it's interesting is every once in a while, like I'll be working with her on the side and I'll be like, hey, this is something I want you to try. Try this. And she's like, oh, Steve has me do that. I was like, oh, does he? And I was like, of course he does. Because Steve's on it.
The Shaniqua is Abby's favorite little.
We always Shaniqua.
We always talk about the Shaniqua.
Okay, listen, like we've talked about this on the show, but we said that we were going to wait until.
Did I know that was going to come up?
So
it's just funny.
If you don't want to talk about it, we could edit it out. But I'm curious, how did you name that? Like, how did it come around? Because that was hilarious the first time I heard it.
When we had the Red Heat 12 and under team, I used to say top hand under.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody knows.
Yeah, it's like an inverted top hand. Yeah.
Just a batting drill, a hitting drill.
The girls said that's too hard to remember.
Top hand under. What'd you call it? Top hand under.
Yeah, and that's just
Too,
what I
too
did.
difficult.
And
Makes
so
sense.
they said, can we name it? And I said, sure. So I let them sit down over there, and pretty soon they came back, we got a name. And I said, what is it? And they said, Shaniqua. And I went, oh my goodness.
There it is.
But I did tell them they could name it. So we held with Shaniqua, and
It's been the Shaniqua.
Oh, that was maybe 89 or
So when
90.
Abby's on the tee now, and when we're doing tee drills, it doesn't matter. Even if she's not doing top hand under, if she's just hitting, if she's getting lazy, which happens a lot with Abby, she's getting tuckered out. I'll be like, Shaniqua. She goes, I gotta channel my inner Shaniqua. Whack! And then you'll hear that pop you were just talking about. Yeah, you hear that again. It's like crack.
Oh man, that's a good story, man.
It's fun.
I didn't know how it came about.
Little acronyms are fun like that.
I didn't know if you
know
played
what I
against
mean?
some girl named Shaniqua, and that's how she swung and she was hitting home runs. You're like, oh, I'm gonna have to tap that.
Shaniqua came about. Too many girls pinch back elbow under. They pinch back elbow under. Okay. What I say is this is a power hand.
Yeah.
Your right hand's a power hand, and you shouldn't pinch under. So I came up with this so that now when you're going this way, you actually punch and you can go it really, really fast. Plus now when you turn this, it will pinch. When you turn this, it doesn't pinch. Boom, straight out.
Yeah, it really, if you think about it, it really helps with eliminating bat drag.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard. I mean, you can still drag a bat, but it's really awkward to drag a bat like that through the zone.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I've also noticed it helps with just following all the way through with the bat, instead of like short batting it, like checking it or anything, like you're check swinging it, like you go all the way through.
Well, but I mean,
all the way.
I think with the Shaniqua though, you're supposed to push it through, and you're supposed to let go of it.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah.
This hand, yes.
top
Top
hand,
hand.
yep.
You actually almost
Throw it.
Yeah, because it's really hard. If you think about it, people, it's really, really hard to keep that top hand on it all the way through.
Yeah.
You will want to let go of it because it's just awkward it's just awkward to hold on to it. After you get past here, you kind of got to let go of it. And it might also help with I'm guessing keeping girls from rolling over
Yes, it
time,
does.
right?
As same as split grip.
Yep. That's right.
I do a lot of beginners.
Mhm.
A lot of beginners or people that come into me, and we split grip with them.
Helps with extension. It keeps them from rolling over. Yep.
Yeah.
Ziva naturally does that when she slaps anyway. She has a thumbs up. It snaps through. Yeah, man.
Cool.
Steve, I'm telling you right now, we're going to have to, as long as you want to, we're going to have you on here a few times because we have so many topics, so many
We can just
questions.
have-
We put this thing into AI just to try to see, like, we give it like 10 paragraphs talking about you. And they're like, all right, break all this down and give us some ideas.
Our phones
And
know so much about you.
the ideas that it spit out, I was like, we're not going to be able to cover this in like one chat.
Yeah, no.
There's just so much stuff. But let's just back up because I know we kind of got off track.
Yep.
So Valley Catholic started the Red Heat. And then how long did it take you to like build the Red Heat up to like, kind of a powerhouse club, unit?
And also, how many different levels in Red Heat did you have? Did you have did you have 12s all the way through the 18s?
Well, what we did with Red Heat was the first year we did B.
Mm-hmm.
And we won B State. And then we went to the first Western Nationals in Longview, Kelso, and took fourth at the first Western. And we camped out at a campground because everything was full.
Yeah.
I mean, it was full, and it was like, oh my God. So that's kind of how it started. So then they said the next year, you can't go B, you have to go A. So we went A. And it was a learning experience because different level altogether.
Okay, hold on. Let me back this up. I think my brain checked out for a second. This first year team was a what year team? Was it 12?
It was 12.
Okay. So hold on. Was the majority of the players on that team, were they mostly first year 12 or were they second year 12 on like a 12-year team?
Half and half.
That's pretty damn impressive, bro. Because remember when I was talking to you about there's a jump from like 10U from first year to the second year in 10, but like the biggest jump probably of all of the levels is that 12 because of all the hormones and the growth spurts and stuff. If you can get fourth place on a first year team with a half and half of 12U players, that's pretty damn impressive. Right. So
then the next year,
hats off to you.
We re-recruited to fill in. And we actually thought we were doing pretty good. And then Sacramento Breeze came up at a qualifier and literally kicked our ass 17-1. I mean, like in 3 innings.
Yeah, and that's when Steve learned how great the California teams are.
Yeah. And I went, okay.
Like that game we watched last night.
So
that's pretty much how that went.
We decided afterwards, then we went all the way through losers bracket, came back and played that team again in the championship game. And they only beat us 11-1.
So you're getting better.
Yeah.
And we got better.
It's like us against Blackout.
It's just like us against Blackout.
Yeah. And they were good enough to say, you guys, you have the beginning of something here pretty good.
Yeah.
And so they hosted us. They said, you want to come down? We will host you. All the players and parents, we will find our team will house you.
Wow.
And so we went down there and we played.
And this is in the 90s now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we played a tournament, and we played every other day a practice game with a different team down there. And then we played a tournament. Now, for the first tournament, we didn't win a game.
Do that like that nowadays, bro.
No. And
the 90s were awesome.
We did not win a game until the last tournament.
Okay.
Because we're playing quality 12 and under teams.
Yeah.
Teams that play year round.
Yeah. What a humbling experience, though.
And then we came back and we just kicked everybody's butt around here.
I bet.
I'm sure
everybody just kicked everybody's butt. It was a great experience for the girls and our coaching staff.
Wow. So take this. So the other teams hosted you guys completely, put you up.
Sacramento Breeze.
Let you guys pretty much camp out at their houses in their backyards and in their couches or whatever.
Jeez.
You got to play different. So you got to play a game every other day and then a practice every other day with a different team.
Yeah.
Dude, that's incredible.
No, they were.
Oh, take me back.
No,
and gasoline was like $1.35 a gallon, so it only cost $20 to get to freaking Sacramento.
Those were good people, and they won 12 and under nationals that year.
Wow.
Oh,
I mean, they were that good.
Huh.
And funny part of it, we never did play them again, but I can't remember, we lost our first game. We went to nationals at Indianapolis that year, and we lost our first game, went to losers bracket and won, I think, 5 games, and then lost our 6th game. But it was a great experience. And the experience of, we had, what's the shoe company?
Nike, Adidas,
No.
Puma.
Brooks,
No.
New Balance.
No.
I'll keep on going. We got.
I know we got them.
let's
For cleats.
a ringer.
Ringer.
Haha. So you had to go
nice
softball,
job,
bro.
bud.
Come on. Yeah.
Ringer.
That's right.
Ringer sponsored us with bags and coats and uniforms, the old man.
Wow.
And so he said, if you go to nationals, I'll help you go to nationals.
Sweet.
So we go back to nationals, and he said, I'll help you. And he said, I'm not going to give you money, but he said, let me make some calls. So he made some calls, and he said, there will be vans waiting for you at Indianapolis.
Jeez.
Wow.
Look at that.
And so we get to Indianapolis,
So
and
you
we thought,
fly to Indianapolis from Portland.
yeah. And so we get there. The guy says, yeah, we have 4 vans for you. And he said, how did you guys know Tommy Lasorda?
What?
What?
No way.
And I said, I don't know Tommy Lasorda.
I
And
would have ran with it.
And he said,
Yeah, you do now.
he called here saying he wanted 4 vans for your team, and he's paying for it
Whoa.
on his credit card.
Oh my gosh.
And so I called the head guy at Ringer, and he said, oh, yeah, he helps sponsor Ringer. He has money sponsoring Ringer.
Wow.
And so
Hey,
we
man,
had
shout out to the Lasorda family. You know, may he rest in peace. He's got to be dead by now, right? He's died a long time ago.
But you know what? These were travel vans, plushed out frickin' travel vans.
Wow.
They were, I looked at these things and I'm going, we're going to put softball girls in these? Oh, crap.
Yeah.
The girls are just, and I could just see it. I could just see it.
Yeah.
Absolutely no stickers on the window, girls.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
you can't, it's almost, I was going to say something, but they didn't have cell phones back then, right? It was a different bunch of girls, dude.
I mean, they had cell phones, but they had just came out.
In the 90s?
Yeah, because I had my girlfriend
didn't
had
have
one back in
phone.
like 1996, 97. They'd been out for a little bit.
I didn't have a cell phone until the 2000s.
Yeah, they were still like the big bricks.
Yeah.
On them.
But that was the start kind of how Red Heat started. And then the word got out and people wanted to have Red Heat. And then they wanted to have more teams with Red Heat. And
So take us to Indianapolis. How'd that go? Another humbling experience, or did you bring it?
we lost the first game 1-0 to a New Jersey team.
Okay.
It was a pretty good team. Girls were just,
And the girls now are still 12 or they're 14?
they were 12.
Holy shit.
And then we won 5. It was either 5 or 6 in a row in the loser bracket, which was almost a blessing in disguise because now we could play with these teams.
Mm-hmm.
And then we came back through, and then pretty soon, you're seeing teams that are pretty good dropping down in. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe it was the 7th game we lost. So we lost the first one, I think 1-5, and then lost the other one. And that started it. And then everybody wanted to be a Red Heat,
Yeah.
all of that. And
Well, yeah, because Tom Lasorda sponsoring the team that's sponsoring you, and you got passenger vans that are waiting for you at airports. The word gets out, and then all of a sudden, the game of telephone happens, and there's refreshments in the vans and freaking private massage. Everybody's like,
The girls were getting pampered up pretty good. Taken care of.
manicurists in the vans waiting for you.
Awesome.
how would you feel if you see these vans?
Oh, dude, my jaw would be dropped, and I feel like royalty.
Feel like a movie star. Yeah. Especially if I was a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And they sent this for me.
Yeah.
The parents and I could not believe it. Honestly, could not believe it.
Yeah.
How
And
much-
as soon as they heard the word Tommy Lasorda, I'm sure that's when their mouth will really drop. They're like,
Yeah. And that got us going, and it just kept on going, and we spread out, and we've had success. Well, I'll read a little success.
please do.
let's hear it.
Red Heat probably went to nationals 12 times, coming in first at AAU, second at NFA, second at ASA, first at ASA for 16 years, taken teams to Colorado for top recruiting tournaments, gone to Mike Candraya's coaches clinics for 17 years.
I love that guy.
And I just put a little blurb in here about Mike. I'll pass that over. I don't need to say much more.
No, we already covered him in another podcast, but for those of you that don't know him, he's probably like the most successful college coach of all time. Coached down in Arizona during the Jenny Finch time. Just incredible coach. He was almost always in the WC, the College World Series, and he usually plays in the top 5.
Yeah.
Continue.
Well, and talking about Jenny Finch, you brought that up. My daughter pitched for Oregon State and pitched against Arizona, 1-0, lost. Pitched against UCLA, 1-0, lost. Pitched against Cal, 1-0, and lost when she was at Oregon State. But her claim to fame is she hit a double off of Jenny Finch.
Hey, man, that's pretty cool.
No, she'll still tell it today.
Yeah. That's awesome.
No, she gets excited about it.
She should, as she should. I mean, how many no-hitters did Jenny Finch pitch? Like 7 or 8, like in her college career or something? Like, that's awesome.
But I had 20 kids play at that time Pac-10 level. So the difference, as you started to say, some of the things, the difference back then, there wasn't as many high-level travel teams.
Yeah.
There wasn't as many. Sure. So we got more quality players.
I mean, softball just kind of started really getting going. It wasn't until like the mid 80s or something like that where it kind of got serious. And like in the 90s where it had its first Olympic team or something like that, right? Because Atlanta was the first year they had an Olympic team, right?
Yeah. And I'm fortunate to be part of seeing what went on and
the best of.
Well, not only I can remember.
It's like steroid baseball. It was the best baseball.
I can remember 4-party phone lines on the wall. Yeah. And what do we have now? Cell phones.
Group chats.
You guys can't even remember the 4-party line on the wall.
Yeah. We didn't have 4-party line. I didn't have any of that cool stuff. We were pretty poor. we didn't have any of that cool stuff, dude.
But you know, it's where technology and where the sport has gone. It's been wonderful for the girls.
Sure.
And I'm going to go maybe offline a little bit here. Not offline, but when I first started doing high school coaching, I coached with Herb Osaki at Madison High School. He's passed away now. Genuinely nice guy. But I ran the summer team, and it was Creative Impact at the time. Actually, it was Mad Ants. So if anybody's an old Mad Ant out there, let us know.
Yeah.
And
if you're a Mad Ant out there, like hit us up in the comments. Let us know.
Represent. Gary might be a Mad Ant. Would Gary be a Mad Ant?
No. And Mad Ants were Madison and Grant.
Okay.
And we called them Mad Ants, and we had a logo on here of a little ant pitching on our shirt. So we called them Mad Ants, and we started that out there. But I did the summer, and then we were, semi, quarterfinal when I helped Herb Osaki at high school. And then when I moved to...
That's a badass last name.
Yeah.
Right. I keep thinking of the guy that breaks in the gloves every time you say that.
When I moved to Hillsboro, some people got a hold of me and said, would you coach Hill High? And since my daughter was there, I coached Hill High. We changed that around. We changed Valley Catholic around. I mean, these were almost immediate changes. But when we came out here, we brought, I'm going to say, an ego and an arrogance that we could win. And we brought a culture of that. And we imposed that culture within the teams that we had. Mm-hmm. And it changed around pretty quick because a lot of the players were there. It's just the culture and the skills needed to be upgraded. Yeah.
Had to buy in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of that. And then I was very fortunate to have people that bought into what we were doing. I mean, parents that bought into it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a great program unless you have great sponsors and great parents buying into your program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you have that, you're very fortunate. I mean, I'm going to go a couple of times of red heat of saying we have had people that have been so good that if some of the kids didn't have equipment, they bought equipment for them. If they couldn't pay the fee, they paid the fee for them. If they couldn't pay the travel, they paid the travel for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we wouldn't have got through some of the things without those type of people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were very, very lucky in having those type of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not every team has that.
Yeah. No,
That's
they
a
don't.
lot of reason why they fall apart and flop too. You know?
We've talked about that in the past. Is that's a lot of the reason why they do fall apart. They don't have a spot to practice. You're fortunate. You have your own.
Well,
Anybody that doesn't know, Steve has a pretty amazing old school facility that blessed to being out there many times. You got a little gym there. You got the cages inside. You got a few different machines. You got outside. You got a whole.
We might even have pictures
field.
right here up on the slide for you. You know?
Whole field outside.
Yeah,
I mean, a whole diamond.
two fields, hitting cage,
That's right.
the facility inside, video room inside, workout room inside. We were the first one on the west side.
Mm-hmm.
We were the first one on the west side to put something like that together, to have kids come and do that stuff, which is another. I couldn't believe that with all the facility stuff and the money on the west side that nobody had ever done that.
I know, it's kind of strange because, I mean, even still, there's not a lot of places that are facility indoor with, I think you have like an infield and like a third of an outfield, right?
Yes.
Is that what I heard? Yeah. So there's not very many places that have even an infield outside or an infield with some outfield outside to go with their indoor facility.
Besides high school.
There's plenty of money out here, and eventually someone's going to figure it out.
The cool thing about your place too is a lot of it's old school. A lot of it's old school stuff, man. You see a lot of the old cones with duct tape, freaking vacuum cleaner hose. You know what I'm saying? And just a lot of just a lot of slidey things. It's just old school stuff that worked. It's like very, get up, kid, because Mick loves you. Rocky and Mick kind of.
Any tractor tires around there?
Yes,
Out back,
not tractor tires, but
Big truck tires.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have two of those, but it's radiator hose. So way back when, the tees they made would fly apart in a year, maybe a year and a half. Radiator hose doesn't. So I'd put the radiator hose on the pipe and put them in cones. I have cones that have lasted for 25 years.
Yeah.
I mean, so I didn't have to buy.
Yeah.
And you have to put new inserts in some of the telescoping cones, but I use telescoping cones for travel and tournaments and stuff, but it's cheaper and it lasted a long time.
Right. And you got Nate too. You got Nate in your pocket. He's such a good marketplace. He's always looking for. He's always got stuff. He's always sending me stuff. He just sent me.
Sounds like me.
He's like he's like Rob.
Sounds like he and I would get along great.
I think he probably would. In fact, he just sent me a free cage. He was like, "Hey, check out this free hitting."
I think I saw that cage.
Yeah, he sent.
Well,
it.
you know what?
Pick us up.
20-footer, right?
20-footer.
Yeah, I saw that. I was going to grab it.
Nate admits
Well, I didn't go pick
that
it
he
up.
has two phones, a work phone and his phone, and he's on that one phone a lot, just going through Marketplace.
You were here the other day when he called me, and both my phones rang.
Dude.
That was the weirdest thing. Remember?
Yeah.
That was Nate. He called both my phones rang at the same. My work phone and my regular phone both rang when he called. It was the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah.
Nate has too freaking much energy. Holy crap!
Maybe he and I shouldn't get
But
together.
you know what?
Maybe it'd be like a bomb going off.
I'll tell you though,
He's got softball energy.
he does.
He's got softball energy.
and-
He's got bucket dad energy.
Oh,
bro.
okay.
Yeah.
We got to get him on here.
Yes,
We do need
You
Nate.
would not get a word in.
That's not a
Let's
bad
do
thing.
it.
It's not a
I
bad
don't have
thing.
to, I just set it and forget it. Listen
You know,
back
you know what's funny is before you got here, we kind of talked about it. We were like, look, man, everybody knows what we sound like. We need to kind of just let Steve talk. We just don't. Neither one. We're just blah, 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 blah.
But
I love it, man. It's great conversations. Bro.
yeah. Now on some of
Yeah,
this
go back to
stuff,
that. Yeah.
We've-
Absolutely. Please.
I have sometimes get sidetracked.
That's easy with us.
We're,
Yeah.
like,
Sorry about
we're
that.
like trouts, dude. We see shiny things.
Here's the one I'm most proud of, and this is probably 8 years old, but last thing we started at Aloha High School, and we placed third in Metro and played the state quarterfinals. 1 all-state player and 4 all-league players. In 2011, we played the state semifinals. There were 4 all-state players and 7 all-league players. 2012, we were Metro champs and again played in state semifinals. Then we had 5 all-state players, 1 co-pitcher of the year, and 9 all-league players. My last year, 2013, we were co-champs of Metro League and played in the state quarterfinals. There were 4 all-state players, 6 all-league players, 1 league pitcher of the year, and 1 player of the year in Metro.
Holy cow.
Were you there when was there, or is it right before was there? Probably ran into her. So
I did.
yeah.
She was a major problem.
Okay. Hey, tell it like it is.
No,
You know?
it was. And that is part of freshmen going into high school and finding boys and finding everything, almost flunking out. I mean, kids go through that. Kids.
God, I'm so worried about that because you're so right.
Yeah.
And hey, and it's not necessarily a freaking slam because they're like, again, this is like what happens at freshman levels, especially 10 years ago. It was a little less serious than it is now. Now with the AUSL, everything's getting more serious. You know, with the internet, everybody's starting to like get personal training when they're like 7 or 8 years old.
Oh man, it's crazy. We're talking about that too.
It's getting serious. And so now when you're a freshman, it's 4-year starter. I'm coming in like from like 6th grade thinking I'm going to be a 4-year starter at freshman. Maybe 10 years ago, you weren't quite that professional about it, and I don't know, maybe I'm making excuses for it, I don't know, but I can imagine that that's probably kind of common to deal with freshmen that don't really have the maturity to be varsity.
I had 2 freshmen, I won't name names, that came in, and the dads told me that they're going to be all-state, all-league players their freshman year.
Yeah.
And I went, okay. Asked me if any of those made. Nope. They didn't even
make it?
No. Not until they made varsity.
Oh, okay.
But one of them hit 220, one of them hit 280, had errors, was not voted for 2 years in. And finally they made, all league, some all state. Mm-hmm. But they were on good summer teams. Mm-hmm. But when you go to a different level, I would say, and I still say it to the kids nowadays, according to this is the size of your brain when it has to do with softball, when they would come in as freshmen.
Right.
And that's the truth. They had no idea. And I still had Katie Newton, finally, as a junior, said, you were 100% right. She said, I've learned so much through you. And she said, I didn't know shit.
Right.
Said you were right about saying your brain is as big as a dime about softball.
Yeah.
But they were on the Clem Woods team that won state, that did a lot of stuff, went to nationals, and they thought they were really, really, really good. But they didn't know softball. They didn't know the game of softball.
Yeah.
And when you, at the time, Metro League, being the Beaverton schools and Jesuit, was the number 2 league in the state. You're playing good teams all the time at, 17, 18-year-old girls you're playing against. Mm-hmm. So now you're taking this little freshman.
Especially when you had less teams like you were talking about. You had fewer company, everybody was good.
And so you're taking these freshmen and saying, okay, freshman, come in here. You've got juniors and seniors you're going to compete against to play. And then you're going to compete against in the league. Mm-hmm. Different scenario. Mm-hmm. I honestly believe that 12 to 14 is a huge jump.
Yeah.
Huge jump.
Yeah.
10 to 12 is a big jump.
Yeah.
14 to 16 is another jump because 16-year-old girls are physically strong and they are smarter, really a lot smarter.
And I think you hit it on the head a couple minutes ago. Other distractions come in your life. Life shows up, boys.
Between 14 and 16, freshman year is one of the biggest drops in softball.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, the other thing too, like we just saw that just the other night when Glencoe was playing Westview, and I think there's a bunch. I'm not 100% certain, but I believe there's a bunch of freshmen on the Westview team because I think they've cycled out. Like,
yes.
There was a while where they had like 10 girls that were like all seniors that I think Softfield was like their hitting coach and like helped them like get all the way through the level. And they were ranked number 1 in the state before they got taken out by Glencoe back when Glencoe went on to the championship and lost to Medford, right, with Peyton Burnham. Wait, not Medford. Eugene with Peyton Burnham lost to the Sheldon, right?
Okay.
Well, anyways, after that team cycled out, I believe they pretty much rebuilt the entire team, and like it's mostly like sophomores or freshmen, and they just basically ran into a bunch of juggernauts, a bunch of big back badass freaking players on Glencoe, and they just got smoked. 17
to 2 last night.
Yeah.
And no offense to Westview, because let me tell you right now, Westview can freaking hit.
Yeah, they can hit.
They could catch pretty well. They were fielding pretty well. Not to get off topic, but Westview looked pretty damn good. To look at the scoreboard and see it was 17 to 2, it seemed awfully odd because I thought that Westview was hitting pretty damn good.
It's the pitching, man.
The pitching. Yeah. I was just getting ready to dive into that. The pitching was 180 degrees different.
Yeah.
The Glencoe has 4 seniors that Vandals, Bullets, Mound Time.
Right.
I mean, they're all playing for
Oh yeah.
quality travel
One
teams.
of Abby's coaches is Kendall, and she plays for the Vandals.
And she got some shots
and
last night.
she's the varsity catcher.
She's
and,
junior, but you got Petrick out there.
She played the whole game too.
Petrick's going to Liberty, and I'm sure those other 3 seniors are probably going D1 someplace too, or some nice package.
Yeah.
But they're just it's just a couple levels above.
Allie, their second baseman, is going to Mississippi Valley State.
Yep.
I was talking with Kendall's mom, and Kendall's going
West Point or someplace
or
else.
Coastie.
Yeah, whoever gives her the most money and gives her the best opportunity. She doesn't. I don't think she really cares if she's going like D1 Power 5. She wants the best opportunity because she wants to go military. So something with ROTC. So she's either going West Point or someplace else where she can, start her career. And I think that's smart. So many girls, they want to get the D1 like status, but then they go someplace and then they don't play, and then they're unhappy because they're on the bench.
She actually is looking more like a D2 is what she was talking about.
Yeah, but dude, some of those schools have a lot of money to throw at you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
My daughter, who pitched at Oregon State, would come back, and when I would have her pitch and be at our camps, our Red Heat camps, she would tell people straight out, you better love softball more than anything else in your life if you want to play in the Power 5 area, which is Power 4 now. But if you want to play at that level, forget, you're not going to have a life.
Yep.
And Kirk Walker was there when he took over Oregon State, and he worked them. I mean, she said she's never worked that hard in her whole life.
I've heard that before from other players that have gone D1.
Yeah, and she said, I did not have, until she went back and had 2 terms at Oregon State. She said, I didn't have a college experience while I was playing softball.
Yeah.
It was travel, study,
Yeah.
and work out.
Yeah.
And that's still the same. But if you love softball, there's a place for you.
Yep.
And it doesn't mean in that Power 4 now. It means there's a place for you.
Yeah, and you don't have to everybody try to go Power 4.
There's a place for you to play.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
everybody can play softball.
Yeah, and
I can even play softball. I can. I'm telling you right now, I do. I have.
Well, I hear you play slow.
Oh, who said that? My daughter. I'll smoke her, dude. She knows it too.
Hey, where's the action camera footage to prove it? Oh wait, you don't have it because you put on time lapse. Oh
no. Hey, well, we had some technical difficulties, but
no, Chad, technical difficulties.
Come on.
Just.
But I'll tell you right now, the money's where the mouth is. Let's go, and I'll put my glove on, and I'll feel like crazy. I couldn't believe how good I was doing. I was like, dang, Steve, you'd have been proud of me, man.
Smelling like icy hot on his way
I was
to
like,
work
Abby, this
day.
is how you block. Boom, dropping down. Like, it was crazy. I was pretty impressed with myself.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, like you said, there's this, if you want to play softball, you want to keep on going, there is a place, but it really depends on how much you want to play softball, how serious you want to be about it, and how much you really want to focus on your education. Because if you're going for some type of medical degree and trying to play softball,
it's not going to work.
Good luck, dude.
Right.
Liberty. Richardson. Yeah. And she was an orthopedic surgeon and was going through doctor stuff at UCLA and made it all work, made the Olympic team.
Wow.
But
all right, Steve, listen, there's always exceptions.
No, but most people, what I was getting to, most people, they go first and second year, and in the engineering trade, they're done.
Yeah.
In the medical trade, they're done.
Yep. Actually, this happened. One of Ziva's coaches is playing. She's D1, and she went in for poli-sci, and within I think 3 weeks, she flipped it on over to communications. She was like, there's no way I can do this. There's way too much reading. But it was crazy because my wife was saying it too. She's like, she's doing what? Man, she'd be changing her major before she knows it.
Well,
and it's true. But of course, at the same time though, she doesn't want to graduate and go do whatever really her degree is meant for. She wants to graduate and coach softball. Like that's what she wants. Yeah. So that's one of
the things that I was going to put down there, we've had that I know of 4 girls come back and coach D1 softball that played in Red Heat program.
That's awesome.
It really
makes you feel good.
Yeah. And the one that actually makes you feel really good as a coach is, you don't know how many times we go to graduations, weddings, and be there when first baby is born for these kids.
Pretty much become a cornerstone in their life.
Hey, it is. My wife loves it.
Absolutely.
knowing you in high school, she said, I never would have seen this.
You and your wife have been together since high school?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing right there.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Hey, when you were talking about former players and like babies and stuff like that, now, I don't take this any kind of weird way, guys. All right? No, there's nothing weird. I have heard there's another team that's out there that just got formed. It's the Vandals team, Krista Ritt, and Krista Ritt's daughter, Jordan. I'm pretty sure you were Jordan's coach, but weren't you also Krista's coach?
Yeah.
Way back when.
Yeah.
So there is like, I know firsthand of the next generation still seeing Steve.
Sometimes I've started having 3 generations.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
It's like, oh shit, I'm old.
Getting dusty.
Well, if it wouldn't have been for 2018, diesel truck rear-ended us and rolled us, and I was still pitching through 2018, pitching to the girls, running bases, sliding.
Wow.
And then the wreck and pull a shoulder out of socket, this shoulder bad back. And
Look, you walked away from that thing.
we're very lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, we are,
You and your wife were in the vehicle together?
2 dogs, and we were going to Colorado
For a tournament?
and taking all the gear and all the stuff up there. And
no girls? You didn't have any girls?
Nope. We were just driving and taking ourselves. We had stopped in Boise, stayed overnight in Boise, and then took off. And I had driven 9 hours from Boise, and we're into Wyoming. And I said, I'm tired, so let's let you drive. And about 45 minutes later, diesel truck just rear-ended us. Boom.
Wow.
And there was only one place in the road that we could have, was dirt.
So wait, hold on. You guys are parked over on the side of the road?
No.
You guys are driving?
Driving. And
Your wife was driving and you got rear-ended?
yeah.
So he came up on you fast.
Yeah.
Was it foggy or something?
Nope.
Was he asleep? Was he drunk?
Nope.
How in the hell did that happen?
He said, I think it was phone.
Oh.
Because he said when he first came to us, he said, I looked down and then I hit you. Then when the cop was there, he said, well, the sun blinded me in the rearview mirror.
So this is before or after the tournament?
This is on our way to the tournament.
Oh my gosh.
So by 2018, I was still...
Life changed.
Yeah, it changed quickly. But I was still pitching to kids and still doing all that stuff.
Wow.
Wow.
And life can change in an instant.
Oh, tell me about it. I know all about that.
Hey, speaking of pitching real quick, not to change the subject, and that's a crazy story. I didn't really ever hear that one. Speaking of pitching, let's talk about some of your pitching techniques. You are a pitching coach.
Correct.
And you're a catcher's coach.
Yes.
You do a hitting coach. You're a throwing coach. Pretty much, you could still Google Red Heat. Your number still comes up in the phone book, and you call and book you an appointment to all your coaching needs. But let's talk about your coaching style. What do you teach?
What separates you from other pitching coaches in the area as well?
I don't try to rush anybody. I don't try to teach things that the kids are not capable of doing. And I teach that strengthening in a violent act is necessary. Pitching is a violent act. You have to explode out, your arm has to go around, your body's doing all sorts of things, and you've got to do all these things within sequence timing. And everything has to happen correctly. To do all of that, you need to strengthen the body, you need to strengthen the ligaments, the tendons, everything in the body, and do the stuff. So the big thing right now is whip.
Right.
Okay, we got to whip, and we got to do almost bring the elbow in and come here and snap around. And I used to teach whip long time ago. And I even taught my own daughter whip. I don't teach whip now until maybe 3rd or 4th year in, because it is a hard technique to master.
Mm-hmm.
So I want the kids to be successful. So I teach everything right up to the point where the elbow is a lead, and then we snap this way instead of snapping out in a whip. So I teach everything leading right to that point. So when the time comes, it's easy to change it. You know, I'm old school with spins. Spins, I don't think, have changed over a period of time. How you spin a ball is how you spin a ball.
Mm-hmm.
I was told at one time, Reynolds is a gadget man with the spins. I have tennis ball things. I have spinners. I have footballs.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I have all these spinner things. But
I just put the click together.
I'll probably have like 80% of them.
and
I just put the click together.
guess what?
Your garage is like a small representation of his barn.
Probably is.
I swear to
But
God.
back then, nobody had it. And everybody said, oh, he's just showing you gadgets.
Yeah, gimmicks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now everybody has it.
Yeah.
But it was,
Some electrical tape on a 12-inch ball.
yeah,
Yeah.
16-inch ball.
Okay.
Basketballs to show spin. I mean, they're just, you name it, I've got it. And I was a huge one of helping Doug Finch with Finch Windmill. My daughter had Finch Windmill. I've used Finch windmills in my facility, and I've recommended people use Finch windmills. What I like about Finch, you gain 3 to 4 miles an hour with a Finch over a period of time, but it strengthens both part of the body. So you do left and right hand, and you do two hand one way and two hand another way. Now, he doesn't make the Finches anymore, but it was one of the best resistance tools and the strengthening tools you could utilize for either side of the body and for the trunk area, because you do some trunk twists with it too. So I'm kind of old school on that.
Right.
But, you know, if you find a good Finch, I think Doug will still, if you need parts, he can part it for you and do a bunch of stuff. But
That's cool.
we have,
Sure, Rob's already Googled it.
No, I was just trying. My phone's dead.
Oh, I thought he was looking to see if
No,
it
I mean, I
was.
thought I knew what it was at first, but I don't think.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is. I mean, he described it pretty well.
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
to look it up,
Yeah.
yeah.
and we'll have it up here for you. If I mean, I'm sure you guys have already seen it, but it's been up there.
But it's, you know, there's just strengthening things like this, and there's just a lot of stuff.
A lot of gadgets, and they work.
Well, and
Proven.
we do 6-8 pound medicine ball throws, medicine ball turns.
Oh, yeah.
We do a tremendous amount of stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of wall sits.
Mhm.
A lot of the old school stuff over at your place too.
Yeah, and
Planks.
Basu ball balance,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
so that your stability muscles in the body can control yourself and strengthen. And so there's a lot of people that don't want to go through all that.
Yep.
They want to,
They want quick results right now. They don't want to put in the work.
yeah, that's right. Push enter, it's done.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, you don't see the workers you used to see in pitching. And we are lacking in pitching in our softball program.
Well, that's the reason why you don't have so many pitchers. Exactly right. Is because the girls don't want to put in the work.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, parents, if your kid's in 10U, 12U, you're wanting to get serious, you have to practice outside of practice 2
We
to
say
3
it.
times a week
We say it
minimum.
all the time.
All right. This whole going to practice thing and then once in a while going to DBAT, that is not going to make it stick. And your girl's going to get frustrated because she can't compete at the higher levels. You have to practice 2 to 3 times a week on your own. You know, when you are like, when you are in season and then when you're out of season, it's gotta be like 4 or 5 times a week on your own because you're not really practicing. Because if you're sleeping during the wintertime, our girls and other girls
They're
are
not.
freaking working twice as hard during the wintertime as they do during season.
Yeah, and they look good right now.
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
and you
man.
can tell they put in the work compared to other people who
Hey,
haven't.
Steve, they're getting ready to play tomorrow. The girls are getting ready to play.
Yeah.
The first scrimmage is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we're pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, we're stoked. And like, you know, we've, compared them to other girls that we've seen them play against from last season, and those girls haven't been working and we've seen them play and it looks like they're a little bit better than what they were last season, whereas ours have made a huge jump, like arm strength, hitting strength. Like we're talking maybe barely able to get the ball to the infield. Now they're hitting it 1 hop to the fence. You know what I mean? Just big jumps. And
great.
You're right. And as far as pitching goes, back to what you're saying, that is the thing, is that there's so much work to be able to dial in your mechanics, to stick with the accuracy, to increase your legs so that you can explode more, because it's all about driving into that front side resistance. And if you're not willing to put in the work, there's other girls that are, and you're going to lose your spot.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Well, one of the things we didn't talk about with Red Heat, our program with the Red Heat was we make the girls, and even with Lady Bombers, we make the girls read mental books.
Okay.
And we test them on
Nice.
so many chapters. We do vision clinic. We do speed and agility in the wintertime and then workouts in the wintertime.
Right.
I mean, and then we offer people that are in my clinic, and it has to fit my schedule. But if you're in my clinic doing something, maybe not even my team, if you want to come in, I might not work with you, but there's space to use my facility.
That's awesome.
And
Especially in the Pacific Northwest where it gets rainy and crummy and everybody has lands at their house.
now ask me how many people take advantage of that.
Well, I'm about to tell you, you're about to get one more taking advantage of it, even though it's maybe one or two. Probably not very many.
No, and it's just, I personally can't believe it.
I know. I honestly, hearing about it, can't believe it either. It's sad.
We try to get out there once a week.
Yeah.
And put in a little bit of time.
You and I are about to become regulars there, bro. I mean, you probably already are, but we're about to be a regular.
I'm surprised. I got to be honest, Rob. I'm surprised you haven't been out there as much as we've talked about it, because we've talked about it, Steve. We've talked about this scenario.
We have.
Dude, this has been a long time. When we started this, I just want you to know, and we can edit this out, whatever, it doesn't matter. But when we've got this thing together, we were like, man, there's a couple key players. If we can get Steve on here, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we can get Wade Sawfield, if we can get like some of these coaches on here, that would be amazing.
I think you need to get some high school coaches.
We're going to get some high school coaches for sure.
Some community college coaches.
Yes.
And I think even
some players.
Yeah, players, Portland State coach.
I'm gonna
get it. I was talking to my wife about it the other day, and I said, if they could get a lot of this, they're just in this area isn't much. It would really be great for growth also in this area.
Yeah, and that's what our hope is that we can, with all the organizations popping up, eventually they're going to start noticing us. Mm-hmm. We're going to get a little bit of people want to be on the show. We're going to be showcasing people.
It's also helping when we're actually doing live podcasts from tournaments. And so people can come up, talk to us, get some swag or whatever, maybe sit in, like coaches doing interviews.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Now, did you know who started the Blaze?
I have heard, but why don't you tell our viewers who started the Blaze so that we hear it straight from the horse's mouth?
Steve Reynolds.
Steve Reynolds.
Jim Marin.
Okay.
And Lynn Beer.
Okay.
That's right.
And
no, it is.
So
I believe you. I believe you.
Do you know the other two gentlemen he just mentioned?
No, I don't.
Jim Marin ended up, he's Washington County Commissioner, maybe, or State Commissioner now.
Okay.
Coached at, he took over for me.
Who's commissioner for what?
ASA, USA.
Oh, okay.
Jim Marin.
He's not USA.
Yeah,
because I just met the USA guy, Dave Adelhart.
Yeah,
right?
has taken that over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but he was the former commissioner.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mike Wells is the regional commissioner.
Okay.
But I think Mike has retired out of it now.
Okay.
But Mike Wells and I started Valley Softball, which ended up Valley Tournament.
Right.
So we go back the whole start of a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
a little fist bump there, a little Blaze bump.
Mm-hmm.
A little Blaze bump.
And people are shocked when they hear, you started Blaze? Well, why didn't you stay with it?
Well, let's talk about how did it go down? What did you start? When you guys say you started an organization, what does that look like? Is that a 12U, an 18U? Like, what did we start at? A 12U because we're trying to develop all the way through?
Well, they saw what Red Heat did and how fast Red Heat got going.
Yeah.
So they came to me and said, we would like to make our organization Red Heat. And I said, look at the coaches that I put together. There's college girls coming back and helping us coach. There's some men's Fastpitch players that are helping us coach. Here's our coaching staff.
Right.
Here we have recruiters that are helping us coach.
Right.
And you want to do this with Blaze? I said, you don't have enough resources. You don't have enough stuff. And they wanted to have Bs. 3 or 4 teams at every level, have a B level, have an A level, have all this stuff. And I said, I think that's great. This area needs it by all means, but it's not going to be Red Heat.
Mm-hmm.
And so they sat down and said, okay, what are we going to name it? And they came up with Beaverton Blaze. And
that makes sense, doesn't it?
The Beaverton Blaze.
They jumped off the flame. They jumped off the fire thing, and they basically went Blaze. That makes sense now.
And that's how all of that happened. And it was a good move. And they wanted me to run it. And I said, I want to coach. I said, I don't want to be bogged down. And then I did at one time we had 12, 14, 16, and 18. And I did that until some of those went out and disappeared, but I would never want to run all of that. It was just time consuming.
Yeah, all kinds of logistics, man. All
Yeah.
kinds of
And
like when I hear about James Lambert running Blaze, I'm like, I don't know how the hell you do it, bro, when you have 2 to 3 teams at like a lot of different levels and you're trying to coordinate them all for, tryouts, and then trying to put together like tournaments and like, make sure all the branding materials are good, and like, dealing with all the other drama that breaks out with the softball. It's like, dude, that's exhausting. And then you'll find out that he's like the head coach of Beaverton High School. And he's doing that it's like, dude, I don't know how that guy does it. I'd like to get him on the show, actually.
Jim Marin is still one of the treasurers for Blaze. And I don't think Lynn Beer is there much anymore at all, but, Jim still has the contacts with, Tualatin Valley and all these different places to get practice facilities and practice stuff. And I don't know if James has taken over any of that, but, Jim still was running some of that stuff. And the tournament at Sunset Park, James still sets those up for Blaze.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the places, not James, but Jim Marin. And so he still dangles in it some. The other day, he brought me over a bunch of stuff that when we were coaching, Jim coached with me for 8 years with his daughter, Kaylin Marin. So if you go back, even James's daughter went to me for a while for stuff. But when you go back, a lot of these people, where did they start? Yeah.
Nice.
And again, I've always wanted to coach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to run an organization. As I got back out of that, and I've had people, the last one that we had that started out was Kim Learman and Jeff Learman and Melinda Burns, Allinger, and they coached a Red Heat team. And they were down below us, coming along. And the last Red Heat team, they had Soraya, who was at where she was at Utah Valley, then went to Fresno State, and now is at Iowa, because the coach went to these different places. And she was their base, but all the kids on that team went through Red Heat stuff. And then all but one played softball in college, and that was Melinda Burns' daughter. Didn't want to, but Melinda Burns was one of the backers of the thing. You have to say there's some money somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And she traveled all over the United States and sold programs and different things and had contacts, you name it, contacts. So she was part of that could help a lot of that stuff within there. And she traveled so much that she would use her points for the coaches to travel.
Wow. Oh, that's nice of her.
Yeah. I mean, there's just certain people that you want to say, thank you, Melinda Burns. Thank you, Kim and Jeff Learman. It's just, they made that program. Now the players did it too, but they made that program go.
Made it possible.
Yeah. And they used our facilities and the fields and all that stuff. But
that's what it takes to be successful.
A village. That's part of the village.
We talk about that all the time too. Like, our kids wouldn't be badasses if it weren't for us. I mean, honestly, because we push them.
Yeah. I got some situational questions that I want to ask them.
Okay.
All right. It's
you got to run on first.
No, that's seriously. That's exactly what this is.
What's on second?
Yeah, okay. You have a runner on third. We're gonna do this situation first.
Okay.
Runner on third.
Oh, he's going there.
You got 2 outs.
All right.
All right. It's you're down by 1. All right. Of all the different players that you've coached, who are you putting in the batter's box?
Wow.
That I have personally coached?
Yep.
Like, who was your...
I have a feeling I think I know how he's going to answer this. So let's see if I'm right.
Boy, there's a lot of them. One of them that I really go with would have been Holly Servin.
Was she a slapper by any chance?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
I was wrong. All right.
Holly Servin was not a mainline player, but with runners in scoring position and a game on the line, she hit 550.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's her mental level just went,
Just locks in. Yeah.
oh my God. It was like people would kind of get mad at me at times. And I'd say, Holly's going to be up there. She'll get it done. Another one like that was catcher. What was her name? Lily Bauer. She hit close to 400 without runners in scoring position, but hit 600 with runners in scoring position.
Jesus.
Wow.
When the pressure's on.
Yeah.
So you have that. He said something, what was the best player that you've ever gone against? And I think that would be Mandy Fishback.
Interesting. Shout out Mandy Fishback.
No,
For those of you that don't know, I believe that's the Southbridge head coach, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Every level she went to, she excelled at every level of what she did. Excelled.
Yeah, I think she was like an All-American, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All everything. And played women's all everything. And played Italy all everything.
Yeah, we got to get her on the podcast.
Yeah.
Next time we're at Southbridge with Siri, we'll be like, hey, what's going on? See this right here?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
literally. Phenomenal of getting stuff done. But those two players plus, I had another one that was really, really good was Jessie Laird. Might not even know that name. The Lairds, Bill helped me coach, and Bill and Melissa Laird also helped. They were the type of people that helped funded things for kids that couldn't play.
Okay. Great people. People that the
Absolute-
community needs.
Yeah. Plus, Jessie was their daughter. And when Westview started softball, we had a ton of players from that Westview area. Well, 6 of them went over there for the initial Silver Bullet start. Jessie stayed with us.
That's a small community, dude.
And then she paid the price for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So she was not on varsity for 2 years. This kid, running slapper, played soccer, could hit, could do it all. And when she finally got up, and she was phenomenal first base, she was an athlete. She could jump and in the air tag somebody going by.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of kid.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't on varsity
Hmm.
because she didn't come over. So she paid the price to be allegiant. And she said, I don't want to go there. I want to stay here. Now, her dad was helping coach, so maybe a little bit of that too. But anyway, she was good in that. And I've told people over a period of time, she had, like, it was 65% on base average, and she stole bases 98% of the time.
Yeah. Awesome.
So 98% of the time, she had a freaking double.
Mm-hmm.
If she got on that 65% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's players like that, and she was not a main verbal leader, but boy, I'll tell you what, she led by example. And she used to pitch, hated pitching, threw 60 miles an hour, didn't want to pitch.
What players?
What were you going to come up with? What player were you going to?
No, I wasn't going to come with a player. I was going to come with a player type. I was thinking it was going to be an elite slapper that absolutely had perfect ball control, was super fast, where they could lay down a bunt and pretty much guarantee they're going to get to first base.
Pete Rose.
Because that's what I would use. I would use a super fast slapper that guaranteed could put down a bunt, and 9 times out of 10 would beat out the bunt to first base. That's probably what I would have done. But I mean, if you know somebody that can get on, that's a batting 650 with runners in scoring position, why risk having a bad bunt when you can just
Holly Servin. I mean, holy shit. I could, when we were in Colorado one time, she hit a ball so hard, she hit a girl in the stomach. They had to take the girl to the hospital. I mean, she crushed a ball. She was probably, 5'9", but maybe 180 pounds.
You say, God damn, Shaniqua.
But when she hit the ball, she hit the frickin' ball. Yeah. But
she hit the Shaniqua.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Out of the ball. But she was almost a liability defensively.
Sucks.
So she DH'd and she would come in on situations.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, hey, so I don't know if you have looked into this, and this is like kind of like a confusing thing, but would you please explain to our listeners what it is and how to use the DP Flex?
The best thing to do is go online, not have somebody tell you that, but go online, get a form that'll tell you everything, and it will show you exactly step by step by step how to use the DP Flex.
Because it's pretty complicated.
It
and
is.
And it's game scenario dependent, right?
And you have many, 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 many ways you can use it.
Okay.
I mean, you can set stuff up and you can go up there and start, here's my lineup, and then go right back immediately and say, no, I'm going to put this one in this place and do this. And they'll look at you like, well, you can't do that. And you say, yes, I can. And I'm going to give you an example. We did it last
No,
night.
hold on, just real quick, just let you know, because you're looking at like
Yeah, I'm
a
like
deer in
DP
headlights.
Flex.
It is basically having like a designated hitter with a fielding position that doesn't hit, except you can switch them in and out, and then do it at different times during the game. And if you do it too many times, then they're not eligible anymore. There's all kinds of weird
Okay.
rules about it.
Okay.
But if you can use it in really smart situations, you can
Okay.
really get an advantage out of it.
Yeah.
Or if you don't know what you're doing, you can really screw yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
So we're in Colorado and we're getting ready to play loser out game. And Corey, we decided, okay, we're going to do this. So Corey went up there and presented this and then said, okay, now I'm going to take this person now that we've said it, and we're going to move this one into this position. The umpire said, you can't do that. Corey goes,
Right. Here we go. He doesn't know the rules. So how am I going to educate this umpire?
and Corey said, yes, I can. He said, no, you can't.
Oh.
And then Corey's generally a fairly nice guy, but Corey said, then you don't know the rules to an umpire. And so they
How'd that go over?
Who won?
Oh, it was kind of a
The
mess. But
umpire.
finally, the umpire said, okay, but everything went absolutely downhill from there. I mean, absolutely downhill from there. I mean, no calls went our way, and it was the only time in my life that an infield umpire has brushed off. I coach at first base.
Uh-huh.
I don't coach over at third. I coach at first. Lots of reasons. Sometime I'll tell you why. But anyway,
On part 2 of this episode.
I got dust swooped and kicked on me over at first base
By an umpire?
by an umpire.
Tom of the sword to be proud.
And
yeah.
I went there and I said, I see you're finally cleaning up your act.
Oh.
She looked at me and I said, the base. She looked back and she kind of knew what I meant, but no, there are things you can do. The best thing to do is to go online and just have it laid out.
Right.
And there's many different, as you say, many different ways you can go back and forth.
Because it's been my experience that like you just get an umpire that's just, he doesn't even care. Like if you don't have your ducks in line, like his word is that, you know what I mean? He's not going to change it, you know? And if you argue with him, it just makes it, then you don't get no good calls.
Yeah.
It's like, is this worth it to go there? So
Well, it
yeah,
even got
go
to-
online and have your stuff printed off and ready so you can be like, here, it's right here. Look.
We had earlier talked to every umpire and they said, yeah, you can be sitting in the dugout, be out of the dugout, right by the door, calling pitches. All of a sudden they said, nope, you can't. Got to be in the dugout. You got to be over here.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that go both ways a couple of times.
And we said, well, tournament director said we could do that. And the umpire in that situation said, we are the umpires of this game, not the tournament director.
Yeah.
You be in there. So twice, Emma, being Corey's daughter, was calling pitches. She would be 1 foot out the door. Time, ball on the batter. I mean, it was that bad. It was like, it was kind of ridiculous. But it all started out with the DP Flex thing.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're just like, hey, umpire, why don't you focus on the strikes instead of on her foot being an inch out of the door? You know, like let's play the game. You know,
Yeah.
it's too bad. And the DP flex though, the first time I ran into it was last season. We had a one of the grandpas of one of the players who was on the team, not anymore.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. So he is a umpire for high school, right? And you would think that he would, you know, understand what a DP flex is, and he maybe understood it a little bit, but did not understand it as much as the other coach. And so they started doing this thing, and then they're calling because he was keeping book, right? He was keeping book, right? And so he's sitting back there, and all of a sudden the switch starts happening. And like before that, our coach like went on up to him and said, "Hey, yo, do you got this?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got this." He's like, "Are you sure you understand this?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got this." No, he didn't.
Right.
And so like it was kind of embarrassing because like, I don't remember what it was, but it's almost like we got like a negative repercussion from the umpire getting pissed off at us because our bookkeeper was interrupting, like, "Nope, hey, wrong batter up, blah, blah, blah. It's supposed to be so-and-so." And they're like, "That's what the DB flex is," you know? And he was like, "Well," and then it got kind of hairy. So, hey, if you're keeping book for your team, you need to look up what a DP flex is, because you're going to get into it and you need to understand exactly how it works, because it's not just like a designated hitter. It gets very confusing at times. I mean, an umpire who was keeping book got confused. So check it on out. So yeah, that's great advice. And if you guys are worried about looking it up on Google, you know, you can use AI like ChatGPT and give it like different scenarios, and it will give you like strategy and stuff like that.
It will. It's just for somebody to sit here and tell you, and if you really don't understand it, you still don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't get it.
Yeah.
And you have to,
Some technicalities.
in my opinion, you have to actually do it,
Mm-hmm.
go through it, and understand all the ramifications you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a useful tool.
Yeah.
And let's see, last 2 years ago, was it, or 3, USA enacted where you could use that at state. And they didn't allow you to use that at state before.
Mm-hmm.
It was straight substitution type thing, you know, not a DP flex, but actually DH type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now they allow the DP flex. So they're progressing along also.
To back up a little bit in time, when we were talking about like different things that came about as you were going through the years, I'd like to really hear about your experience and how you felt. Like how was it the first time that you heard the first composite bat used to crack a ball versus an aluminum bat?
I was happy.
I bet it was. I bet you were.
As a hitting coach, you're happy.
Hmm.
Composite wasn't the first bat that came out that would give your bat more life. It was titanium.
Yeah, I remember that. And then they make those illegal, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah, because it happened in baseball too, and people were getting their hands shattered at third base.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I mean, but titanium was the first one that came out, and they were explosively bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they were.
Yeah.
And that's
Cool, get my
when,
hands on one of those now just for fun.
and
If you can find one.
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
so they
Yeah.
made titanium illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the process of making titanium illegal came the force off the bat.
Uh-huh.
Bat and came bat pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So the
compression,
compression pressure off the bat. So all of that came about starting with titanium going into composite and making the bats all have a certain level so that things were safer. And then back when we started, they had 55 with hardcore softballs. When they changed from Cork,
Mm-hmm.
that's what these hardcore softballs were like. Oh my God. Then they went to 50 and then they went to 4.7, and then they went to medium core 4.7. And now for youth, I think it's like 4.4, 4.5 with medium core softball, so it doesn't come off that bat as hard. But going back to the bats, they all have a certain bat force with a certain pressure. So it must maintain a certain pressure inside the core of a bat. If it doesn't, when the pressure starts releasing, the bat goes like that. So now you can compress a bat and it springs out more. So I don't know what the pressure readings are anymore. It has to stay at a certain one. But if it drops down,
I don't know what they're off the top of my head either, but I know what the numbers on the balls are, because I've been looking at a bunch of those lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. So I know there's some bats that, besides the titaniums, there's some bats that are illegal. Like if you get on like the illegal bats list, there's a lot of them, and most of them have the word stealth in them. So were you around when the stealth bats were around?
Yeah.
And can you share a little bit of your memories about those times? Were they crushing balls?
They were.
What they have? What were these titanium also? Or what were
I
they?
think they're Easton Stealths, right? Is that what they were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they did, they put a flex core inside, but in the flex core, they put an area that would flex more.
Okay. So it's the idea of like the double wall, but like with extra flex in the inside wall.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
so all of a sudden, here you go. And so they made that illegal. And then DeMarini came out with the Phoenix, and I still use a 3325 to do BP grounders and all the different things with, and this thing's 20 years old. And it still has, Corey loves it. Everybody that use it love it because you just flip the ball up, wrist it, and the ball takes off.
It's like a fungo.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes boom.
Yeah.
But they made, after 2 years, they made the Phoenix, those models illegal because they kept getting better and better and better with time.
So the fibers would loosen up, and you just get more spring out of them.
Yeah. And so they made, I mean, there's been all sorts of stuff like that you've seen.
I mean, it seems like they're putting a new bat out all the time anyways.
To get away with a lot of that stuff, the Ghost and even some before the Ghost was a 2-part bat, so it would actually flex at high speed. If you were strong enough, you could actually see, and I've shown people.
Abby's that blue one.
It gave you the Bustos one.
The Bustos, yeah. The blue one, it flexes like crazy.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. It'll meet the pressure requirements. It'll meet a lot of the stuff, but then that handle flexes and it'll whip it off of there.
Yep.
So you look at some of the stuff that they've tried to do, and now that flex handle can't flex without a certain amount. But when those 2-part bats get more and more and more worn in there, they will flex, and then you get more pop out of your bat.
Just the idea, like a graphite shaft with like a golf club, you know, same idea. I want to see, well, before we keep, I think we're about to wrap it up.
Hold on, before we get too crazy, I want to talk about the plaque.
Well, hold on, before we talk about the plaque, because I'm going to forget to do this if I don't do it.
All right.
We have a gift for you.
Oh, the gifts.
Here you go, sir.
Am I a bucket dad?
You are official bucket dad.
Official bucket dad.
You are grandfathered in the title, sir.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that has the bucket dad logo on the left sleeve right there.
Yeah. So if anybody asks, you can be like the podcast, blah blah blah. But
we hope it fits. We all got to wear the same size. We're not quite there yet. Just kidding.
Yeah, if it doesn't fit, let us know. So we'll get you another one. But if you'd like to show it to the camera so they can see it real quick on the front, it says. It's a bucket. We're going to have these eventually on our website. Bucket dad, catcher, coach, therapist. And that really.
And somewhat is the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
So. 100%. We have the greatest conversations.
Yeah.
We have the greatest conversations sometimes, my kid and I.
A lot of therapy, dude.
So, before we wrap things up, I wanted to talk about this real quick. Steve, you're a hard guy to find information on the internet. It's funny, we kind of said something in the beginning of the podcast. My little AI search thing, you could look at it. You're all over it because we've been trying to put this thing together for a minute. It seems like there's information that might have been removed at points. It seems like I saw a picture. I saw something that you shared with me a while back that I can't even find anymore.
We don't necessarily need to get into the whole reasons or why or why not that may or may not have happened.
Yeah, let's just talk about the plaque. Let's just talk about your induction to the Hall of Fame here. Let's talk
because
about
that's pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome, and it's mainly coach, clinician. And I'm probably one of the only coaches. It used to be the standard for being in the Oregon Hall of Fame and then being inducted into the National Hall of Fame, you had to win a national championship.
Yeah, okay.
And I have never won a national championship as the head coach. I was a co-head coach winning one, but he was the named coach.
Gotcha.
I did most of the coaching, but, that's kind of the way it went.
Who was that coach? Just out of curiosity.
Bill Laird.
Oh, okay. Gotcha now. All right.
And clinician.
By the way, it's now and forever, everybody. Once you get in it, you don't come out of it. So that's the way it should be.
either way, it's pretty badass.
Yeah,
I don't know
2021.
anybody.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted people to
I
realize.
just want you to know
this is
that
pretty special for everybody. This is pretty special.
as whatever people might think about it, I don't know anybody that's in the Hall of Fame for anything except for you, Steve.
I have met one other person,
Okay.
Sue Oran.
Yeah, she's in there.
Yep.
And Sue has done not only pitching wise, but I think they took her in there for the stuff that Sue does outside almost of softball.
No, like community awareness or something like that, or just like
The big tournament that she does for cancer,
oh yeah.
the fall tournament, and softball cares. She has done a tremendous amount of that.
PR work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking away her pitching away from her, but she has set up something that is very, very good for kids and cancer
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I mean, I don't know how many, I bet $25,000-$30,000 a year.
Is that like the Maddie Higgins
No,
tournament thing, or is that something different?
that's something different.
Okay.
Dad set that up.
Oh, okay.
Mike Higgins set that up.
Okay.
But I don't know if, and maybe she's taken that over. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But she still runs the USA thing, and she used to have a thing where women got together and did a women's tournament or two, and then she would have a thing where the kids that she used to coach or pitch and get together and do the USA type thing, and now it's turned into the USA stuff, which is nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
So she's progressed a lot of things around, and that's why she is doing a lot of that stuff. And rightly so.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when somebody does a lot of that stuff to progress, you know, our sport of softball,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they need to deserve. Jim Marin is in it. I believe Mike Wells is in it. I can't remember. Tim Hill is in it. Paul Saba. They used to be Fastpitch players. I played against them way back when. And Tim Hill is in it for coaching. And I believe Tim Hill is in the National Hall of Fame because they won a national championship.
Yeah. So it sounds like you were some good company in this, and so congratulations.
Yeah. It sounds you've had a tremendous career. Thank you for, keeping it going and, coaching my kid and many more to come.
Sounds like
Well,
you're going to be coaching my kid too.
Have
pretty
you
soon.
ever asked me how I got into it?
Actually,
I think, no, you know what? I think I remember you saying something about it, but why don't you go ahead and tell us again?
Okay, good. I was helping coach. My knee was bad, and I was playing men's fast pitch, and it would swell up and be really bad. And so Warren Dunn, bless his heart, he has passed away. He said, "Steve, why don't you come help me coach a women's team?" Well, I'm freaking 23 to 25 in that age, and all these women are right out of college and in college, and it wasn't 2 years. All of a sudden, my wife said, "Oh, your daughter needs a coach," and she was 9. And I keep telling her to this day, "You did that so I wouldn't be around those women."
I was going to say, because you did mention earlier that you started coaching your daughter's team in the 9s. So I was trying to go back to that.
Yeah.
I was like,
No.
I thought I missed something, but now I get it now.
Yeah.
And I keep teasing her about that. And she said that had nothing to do with it. She saw.
I think we need to have her on the show, to be honest
I'm
with
telling
you. I
you,
think
man.
she probably has the
she has
more.
more social media influence than he does. I think she'd be a character to have on
I
here.
bet she probably has all the juice, all the gossip.
Yeah, the drama that he doesn't want to talk about. She's
Yeah,
like, "Oh no, I'll tell you
she's
all about it."
She's like, "I got this, honey. I got this."
Yeah.
Well, she at times, she used to be the sounding board.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the coaches' wives.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they help out with, you know.
Yes, and I would not be where I am without that.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
when I coached and traveled and had kids, and I coached both daughters and my son for 3 years, but she kept the house together
Yeah.
Mhm.
while I'm doing all that stuff.
Right.
And so I couldn't have done it without her.
Right.
Period. That's just
That's
what
awesome.
it is.
Steve, for those people that are watching, that are still watching, by the way, like and subscribe if you haven't. It really helps us out. And we'll look for us on Spotify and Apple Music. We should be there easily by now. But for those of you that are still watching that want to get some time in with Steve, where can they find you, or how do they contact you and schedule time to get some clinics or some private lessons?
Reynolds_Steven at msn.com.
Okay, we'll flash it up right now.
Yeah.
And definitely check it out, especially you guys are in the Hillsboro area, because there's not a whole lot of options out here.
Right.
And I can tell you right now, I don't know this for a fact, but my guess is that your pricing is pretty competitive, if not better than what the cost for like DBAT is, because DBAT is ching ching ching.
You've been doing some awesome coaching clinics, catching clinics, and throwing,
catching,
all of it, hitting.
Yeah.
You pretty much cover all things fast pitch over at your barn.
Yeah.
Reach out to him, talk to him. Maybe you guys can put together a package and figure it out and schedule time, because obviously if you schedule time and get into a clinic, well, then he kind of has like almost like an open barn policy. You can come in and use a lane if you want to, because like no one really uses it.
Clinic, let me tell you something. The clinics is where it started. The clinics is where it started for us. Abby got to hang out at the clinics, and then we just never stopped going. Like he said, now who takes advantage of it? I'm like, I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like honestly, like then she did the next clinic, and then before you know it, she knows all the girls. Like every time she goes, they all know each other. Like, hey, it's Abby. It's a great program.
It's a village environment.
It is. And you got a lot of bucket dads over there too, because like you said, a lot of times Steve's not really necessarily helping Abby out. A lot of times it's me loading the tee up for Abby.
I might be down to come on over there and helping out with some of your clinics, and maybe being another coach, just moonlighting in, man, because I love helping them. I love helping young ladies who are wanting to learn, who want to pay attention, that aren't screwing around. I love helping them. The ones that screw around, it's kind of hard for me to keep on trying to reel them back in and stay focused. I can do it a little bit, but there's a certain point as a parent, as a coach, if they don't want it, you can't make them want it. I mean, sometimes
you're right.
Man, we really enjoyed having you on this podcast. Hopefully we can have you back on here again, maybe towards the end of the season, or I don't know, mid-season. If you ever want to come on, you want to talk about if some kind of crazy drama happens, let us know.
You've been to the clinic now, so now you got like your open door. You can just come by anytime.
Studio policy, you know?
Yeah. Well, hey, I might just be knocking on your door.
Well, we appreciate it.
Usually on Wednesday nights, we pretty much record sometime between 5 and we usually start the recording process between 5 and 7 o'clock at night, because he's got to be in bed by 8 because he gets up in the morning, goes down the shipyard. So,
the weekdays I like to record by 5. We be recording by 5, and then lately we've been kind of going kind of late. Right.
4-inch round.
Right.
1/2 inch thick aluminum.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It has to do with softball.
4-inch round.
Do you need that? Do you need a piece?
Yeah.
I got you. 4-inch round.
4-inch round.
Gotcha.
1/2 inch thick.
Okay. Aluminum.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm welding it on the butt of a bat.
I'm gonna give it to you. I got a piece.
Okay.
I got a piece. I'll bring it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he was gonna build me a cane, actually.
I'm gonna some tips.
Some tips, cane tips.
Tips. Some snow tips.
Awesome.
Snow tips. But
Some
anyway,
spikes.
that's some spikes.
All right. Well, listen, if you guys are still watching, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and check out our TikTok and Instagram. We're definitely going to have some reels on there from here, some good little moments, and share with your friends. And if you are on Spotify, make sure you give us a 5-star rating if you like our show, and give us a comment, because that's what helps get us into the algorithm. Spotify.
We need the algorithm.
Followers doesn't matter. I mean, it matters a little bit. Obviously, follow, but the reviews is what helps get us over the edge. Same thing with YouTube and everything else. Just help us out, because we're not sponsoring any of the shows. We're not paying for any ads and stuff like that. We don't have any sponsors yet. Although if you want to sponsor us, reach out to us and we'll start plugging in every single episode. We need cameras. Yeah, we need some cameras. Actually, I think I might have a private sponsor for that. So, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So,
we're doing pretty good, honestly. We started from nothing. We started we started this in the dining room, migrated to the garage.
Yep.
Went to a hotel.
Yep, that's right. Bedford.
Don't remember if we made it to your garage or not. I don't think so.
No.
And then we
But now we're here.
Now we came
and
here.
pretty soon we're going to be at a tournament near you.
That's right.
So come on out, say hi to us. Don't be shy. Don't be hiding out in the bushes, taking pictures of us and sending up the pairs on the team.
Yes.
Come out to us and say hi.
Yes. Or put them on and
Yeah.
tag us.
Yeah, tag us.
Okay. Thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you, Bucket Dads.
Thank you, Steve Reynolds.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, you're
Appreciate
welcome.
you,
You're a
man.
legend. We appreciate you. We can
Absolutely.
hardly wait to have you on here next time. It's
Spit
gonna
it
be
out.
great.
You can do it.
I know. All right. See you guys later. Peace.